nothing. Now I will show you how I deal with informants. Finish him.
With pleasure.
These are the coordinates Ellis sent.
Over there.
It's Ellis. Executed. Leon, you find anything?
The place is torched. I don't know what they were growing, but it wasn't narcotics.
Romer knew we were coming.
So what's our next move?
We watch for the next viral outbreak. We won't have to wait long.
Logan's report was clear enough.
I want 2 additional teams assigned to this. Find Romer.
I understand.
Logan is my best agent. What do you want to do?
Nothing. We will wait. We will wait and see what he can discover.
Our WHO contact was correct. Everyone within 100 miles is dead.
Not everyone. This man is still alive.
How is that possible?
It's not.
Alright, well, my coffee's just about made. So I'm about to get started. It's just gonna be the catacombs, not the stronghold in the other stage. Alright, my coffee's just about yeah, I just need to practice that last group of stages, and that'll be, of course, all in practice for tonight and the next couple of nights. But the catacombs is just a real troublesome spot, because it all looks the same. You know, it's a little labyrinth kind of design. And then it's a sneaking sequence followed by a escort sequence followed by an escorted escape sequence. So it's just a million things that can go wrong. You can just make a bunch of wrong turns, you can take too long, you can kill the person you're protecting, whatever. But I'll go over that once I actually hit the stage. Let me pour up a cup of coffee and then I'll be good. Alright, let me get my headphones on. And I did order, or I placed an order this morning for
When does the operation begin?
a new PS2. Because I really want a PS2 with fast disk speed so I can get faster times on here. So that's going to be good. And right before we jump all the way into it, like I said, we're going to be doing, since we already covered all like the explicit stuff, all the button input stuff like rolling and shooting and combat and all that, we're going to focus mostly on things like NPC manipulation and, you know, just like weird momentum physics and stuff like that, because that's a big part of this game as well. You can make certain skips, certain jumps that you wouldn't normally be able to do if you not only go at them from a certain angle, but with a certain input. Strafing, turning, running, it all matters, the context of it. There's a lot to do just with momentum on the ground as well, but it's not as drastic. And then beyond that, the NPC stuff we already covered a little bit, and you'll have already seen me exploit some of that in earlier stages, but it basically just has to do with how NPCs are flagged and how they're programmed to spawn. Because NPCs can exist kind of without their models. Not really, they won't be there, but certain properties attributed, or that are supposed to be attributed to NPCs, it turns out are actually attributed to, I guess, the game's flags. And noise, audio, is one of those things. So when an NPC hears you, it's more like the data of where the NPC is supposed to be standing that is hearing you. Whereas their sight is dependent on their model, on their NPC. If there is no NPC physically present that you spawn either by looking their direction or getting in close enough proximity to them, they can't see you, no matter which way they're supposed to be facing. But if you're in their area of, like, you know, if you're in hearing distance of where they're supposed to be and you're running, they will hear you, and that will force them to spawn. So it's a weird mechanic, but understanding that helps you spawn NPCs later, or sometimes even despawn them completely, which is critical to skipping, you know, some problematic NPCs, especially in this group of stages in the Stronghold.
Security has been breached. Roma has ordered that the prisoners be eliminated. Take care of the old man. I'll wait here.
And you'll usually see people wait at this part, just because you're waiting on this old man anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
And of course, same old stuff, palette swapping, so that you can get your two-handed rolling dynamics. And then input stacking so that you can do your fast rolling, your fast sneaking. And it's one of those things where the audio cues are a big deal. See right there, if I had been closer, that little fuck up right there would have costed me. Because he would have heard me run. But that's all getting more into the rolling mechanics specifically, so I'll cover that in like a published short. And then just kind of wait for him here, wait for him to at least turn the stairs. So this is easy enough. This is the easy part. It's just time consuming because it's a waiting section. And he will see the body, so right here what you want to do is just get far as fuck away. That'll despawn that NPC and then you're good. It's just easier mechanically and less stressful to just run this path that I did and get it out of the way than it is to follow him closely and then, you know, strafe around the corner to headshot that guy the other way. And yeah, I like the audible bong rips. I used to have to get really close up to my other digital mic to make them audible, but this acoustic mic can hear me like rustling in the kitchen half the time, so I always have to turn it down.
Please.
And then here, I'm gonna take another little second because I'm already stressed out just looking at Fagin's dumbass. I don't understand the logic with Fagin. Leon is a little bit easier because she just runs. The problem with Leon is she'll stand there and try to fight every other dude. But if you damage her within like an inch or so of her health, the NPCs won't really shoot at her. Especially at that point, she'll just haul ass. She'll pretty much ignore everybody. But you still kind of have to be on your game. If you get too far ahead, if there's too many NPCs around, she may still stop, so. But with Fagin, I have no idea. Sometimes he just fucking stops there. Sometimes he walks in front of you and then just doesn't move. I don't know. So that's the bulk of what I'm going to be doing for like these first maybe 20-30 minutes. On top of course, trying to memorize the route, I'm going to be trying to figure out whatever the hell it is Fagin's doing. Because I know some people spawn behind you. I'm trying, man. And then, yeah, another big problem is that Fagin will not only just get in your way while running and stuff like that, he'll get right in front of these fools as you're trying to go for a headshot. And there's only one checkpoint with Fagin and one with Leon. And they're both at about the halfway point of the escort. Whoa. You can force them to move by getting like a little farther ahead, but then you have to like and he should be coming down the stairs, yeah. So I think that's fast enough, because he always crouches around that area. Or he may not crouch if I kill that dude first, because then, you know, he'll be like all clear or whatever. So it's the NPC patterns, it's remembering which ones have flak jackets so you don't waste time with the headshot if you don't need to. It's remembering to not get far away from Fagin. If you get too far away, as you can see on the radar, he just fucking gets scared, stops moving. Because you want to headshot the guys with flak jackets because you want flak jackets so that you can just be real reckless. And you need to clear them out so that Fagin fucking puts some gas on it. So this is, you know, re-emphasizing yesterday. This is more of the strict combat stuff. And then, yeah, I have to remember there's two stairways, because I always think that's the corridor where Leon is.
No, this way.
God damn it. I did that last time too. So see, it's just little stuff like that. And then yeah, you can very possibly die. Follow me, stands there. Will he haul ass now? No, he will crouch there. So momentum and stuff like that came into play right there. It wasn't really necessary there. But depending on how close you cut your rolls off of a ledge, for example. Fucking Frank's just standing there. But yeah, depending on how close you time your roll to the ledge, you can get like a bit of a speed boost because it'll factor in the, you know, the falling momentum from you, well, falling. And it just stacks it on top of the boosted momentum you get from strafing and rolling as it is. And again, the benefit to rolling over just regular dropping and, you know, input toggling to avoid lag is that a forward running roll forces the momentum to be carried. Since it's supposed to be like more of an acrobatic evasive maneuver, they force it to keep max forward momentum so that you can focus on turning away from enemies and stuff like that. It you know, it dumbs it down for you. So you gotta wait for... Why are you just chilling there, man? Okay, and like I said, remembering the path, it's not so much a matter of like left turn, right turn, or anything. It's a simple shape. It's just like a box. It's just a matter of, you know, keeping my awareness about it, where I am in the box. And then this is where Leon is, I think. Oh, there he goes. Ooh. That's where it is. I always try to run down that corridor. And then I'm going to go ahead and break another little second right here because now it's the Leon phase, which is effectively the same thing, just more people, and it shouldn't take too long. Like I said, it's easier than Fagin because Leon at least won't really... If she is standing around, it's obviously just because there's people. Whereas Fagin, it's just like... You know what I'm saying? His fucking hip hurts. I don't know. And then, like I said, the path, everything looks the same. Everything is brown and looks like a fucking PlayStation texture. So, this is probably the single most problematic. All of those things make it problematic as it is, even in regular gameplay. This is probably the most annoying level. But it's all exaggerated in the speedrun. You won't see me have half this trouble even in the next few stages. And if I do, it's with something very simple, you know, like a skip that I don't know how to do yet, or, you know, I keep falling off the wrong ledge. That's probably better for my recording stuff.
That's her cell. You're on your own now.
So yeah, shooter.
Get out of here. Check your fire.
Damn it!
Not that much. I think it's from 33 to like 26, maybe 25. As long as you don't overshoot.
Let's get out of here. Check your fire.
And then two-handed, pallet swap back into the G13. This gives you your fast roll with the fastest firing rate in the game. So that is, especially for fast rolling, right, compare this to rolling with the G18 normally, you'd be fucking chugging along. And she'll, yeah, she will just stand there, but that is if you get too far too. That is another real reason. So as far as I can tell, it's possible to late spawn, no spawn, and in some cases even despawn as you just... Oh, never mind. I didn't despawn him. He just moved. But yeah, but you can despawn as well. But that's only in certain cases with real specific NPCs, which I'm assuming has something to do with the way they are specifically meant to interact. I shot him in the neck. That should have been death. I saw it.
Got him.
You didn't do shit, Leon. And this should be a checkpoint? Or I think I'm a little too early. No, this is it. Don't let her run you off. She ran me off. And see, there's that place with Fagin.
What are you doing?
I'm fucking running. I'm sorry. And see, you're slowing her down now. So, like, that can happen too. Because she won't try to get too far ahead of you either. And then if you do get too far away, you know, one way or the other, she'll just stop. And then, of course, if you despawn her from the radar, it counts as her dying, so... And even with the lock on, you gotta be careful, because if Leon decides she's gonna juke one of these dudes out and runs in front of it, especially with all the damage you already did, like right there, you know, she's gone. Oh. Oh. And then, this seems to be a good way to cancel the slight drag of going up a ramp or an upward incline.
There's someone up ahead.
And then wiggling back and forth seems to shift the momentum. So it's not terrible, but I should be able to do it in like half that time. But it's just that fucking Fagin segment. But I'll come back to it, because I'm gonna keep getting into more of just the dynamic gameplay stuff. Because at this point, there are still some context-specific skips. There's one I can't do at all, actually. I don't know how yet. It's at the very last stage, whenever you're rolling under the silo door, you can actually just roll back out. As long as you trigger that animation, it counts as you cleared, so you won't die from the fire. It's not like actual fire programmed to kill you. It's just an animation. You're just programmed to die if you miss that interaction, you know? So... that saves you the time of having to wait for the fucking elevator door to open, but I have no idea how to do it. Damn.
Erickson, move.
Who are you? What do you want?
I'll ask them.
What kind of name is that? Oh. And this is a pretty simple path, but like I was saying, at this point of the game, and at this point of the speedrun altogether, It's basically just skill, you know. There's nothing you're really doing that you haven't already done. And I guess you can't do that. What? I can't hear you. Oh. And see here, I actually want to be holding some type of gun. Because you want to go like this way. Shoot the barrels. And you do that so that they can't be shot on your way out of here. Damn. And see, that was a bad momentum roll right there. This will be a good place to cover it too, because this is going to be an obvious problem area in that way. It doesn't cost you but, you know, some microseconds, genuinely, but, you know, that's everything in a speed run. That's how I should have done it. More like, you know, it got me a few pixels farther. But it can be done even better if I angle the turn. And the reason why you're able to do all that, like I said, the momentum physics for this game are kind of crazy. So if you'll notice, you run fastest at your first step of a run than anything else. And it may be hard to notice on its own. It might be a little more noticeable with the strafe, but you'll notice a continued strafe just is as fast as a run. But if you know, keep tapping it, it's like, you know, that frame in between, I'm not timing it right, but you can see the clear difference there. And you can exploit that just by hitting like a diagonal forward strafe run and just wiggling it. You know, you can take advantage of that shift in momentum and the slight boost that it gives you. You can stack that with, you know, downward momentum, and that sends you a little bit farther. And things like weapon toggling and rolling seem to carry that momentum without you having to do anything. So it's a good way to kind of maneuver. You know, it's a subtle little thing, but especially when combined with a two-handed running roll, if you can time it right, that's, you go farthest at that diagonal angle. But the thing is, you can't just go at a diagonal angle. If you go at a diagonal angle, because it will be not strafe or forward movement, you don't get that kind of speed boost. You're just going as if you were already running. You actually won't go as far, and I turned there by accident. That's why the camera turned. You want to strafe instead of turn so that you don't turn the camera, obviously. But if you go at that angle, even if you time it right, you don't really go quite as far. Maybe on one axis, but not on the other. To get the best of both worlds, I guess, you have to go off the roll at a hard strafe and then adjust it into a forward roll. Which, like I said earlier, rolling holds your momentum, it carries it, your forward movement. These motherfuckers stopped civil warring with each other to wait for me, like, nah, fuck this dude. These pieces of shit. But, if you do it right, you'll take that momentum, and because it holds it for you, like I said, since it's designed as an evasive movement, you can turn and you won't compromise any of your speed. But it's tricky. But it comes in handy, especially like in the first stage. You can clear the whole subway tracks with a single roll like that. Keep forgetting you can't do that. You can't do it on the ones that you're on top of, only to the ones that they're on the side of, I guess. And then you want the grenades so that you can throw it like over here. No. You want to throw it at that door, but you want to do it from that angle so that by the time you get here, it's just open. And then with the PK-102, you can just fucking... And see, if I had timed my roll right, I wouldn't have had any landing lag. I could have just speed boosted to those crates and got straight for the interact. And I'm usually not one for like detours or safeties. I try to avoid them. But this one might be almost necessary. And I missed the interact skip on that, but there's some segments where you just want to run and gun some of these guys at the end. It might just be, you know, there might be no other way. And that strafing momentum comes into play with your shimmying glitch as well. You can do it just like a ledge skip, you know, by going into the first person aim. But if you just strafe cancel instead, you take advantage of that speed boost and you get a much faster, more reactive shimmy skip. God damn, bro, stop it. They're not supposed to pay that much attention to you, I thought. And then here you want to kind of wiggle off. And that's very scary. I need to get the hang of doing that. There's a harder version of what I just did in the third to last stage. And you want to get that grenade throw earlier too. So I need the weapon management part of this down a little bit better. Now this one, if you don't fuck it up and then get like killed 3 times over, that one you can interact skip. You can do your little duck walk. So yeah, I've got to be, and that's another big part of all the levels for the speed run, is knowing which weapon you're on and how far away you are from the next one you need to be on. And that's on top of being good with the weapon. And god damn, that's a thing to get through your window. Is this motherfucker just doing paperwork while this shit's going on? Just another fucking day in the office for these monsters.
Erickson, move.
Who are you? What do you want?
I'll ask them.
Who the fuck are you? And now see, a problem with that though is going at an angle with everything. It's not the hardest thing to do to set yourself up at a diagonal angle, but it often means compromising your viewpoint, you know? You can't see where the fuck you're going if you're going everywhere at a sideways angle, but when you can speed boost and roll faster from it, that could have been better as well. Oh. And that's another dynamic I guess I could cover right there. That fucking bullshit you just saw me do, that I shouldn't have been able to do, jump from like back here to this ledge behind me. It has to do with the way strafing works with, I guess, your field of vision, right? Imagine in front of Gabe Logan there's a, let's call it a 90-degree cone of vision. Whenever you're strafing, it kind of pulls it that way, you know what I'm saying? So it's almost like I'm looking left almost completely that way. But because I'm also literally looking straight, what it does is it creates this wide corner angle that I can interact from. So in a so while I can't interact with this ledge from here by pressing triangle, or even just by moving up or down, I can interact with that one. But if I trigger that way, it'll do the interaction for me. I don't have to waste time turning. And that works with interact skips as well. So if I wanted to come at this grenade crate from a whole ass backwards angle, so long as I'm strafing in its direction and I can point myself at a downward angle with like the D-pad if I wanted to too, that affects that entire cone of, I guess, what is effectively Gabe's vision and interaction range. So that's very useful, especially in segments where you got to do a lot of climbing. And even if it's just a climb straight in front of you, it like overrides other inputs. It not only overrides other inputs the way that this game stacks them and all, but it also just, which means that you can help to prevent reloading whenever you need to climb. So instead of fucking whenever you're trying to get up here and trying to get away from some people, it also like kind of pulls you in, even if it is just a straight shot, a straight interact. So you get it like a pixel or two sooner if you wiggle into it. And more often than not, it kind of aligns you. And it's most notable with bombs and those other kinds of like crouching interacts that you skip. Because you'll just see how much... You'll often see Gabe get like literally teleported. I probably don't need to go all the way this way. Damn. So I'm gonna have to get that grenade throw down. And then this is... That was a good roll, I just didn't go the right way at all. But again, you know, you can cover those sorts of distance. You can hit like whole ass spirals midair just by abusing all of those momentum physics. So it's critical for sure to optimizing a lot of stuff. And it's dangerous to fight these guys head on like that. It's easier to... It's safer to headshot them, I should say. Not easier, but... So yeah, it all comes into play. All these mechanics stack on top of another. And yeah, see, just, you know, the game being a skill issue at this point is also just a very real thing. Damn. Now, that we have the grenades equipped, actually, you know what? I could practice doing it this way. Because I've been trying to find more usefulness for this sort of... The problem with the grenade glitch like that is that it triggers Gabe's auto-aim, which is great for throwing gas grenades at NPCs using this glitch. Oh, okay, it's kind of just a straight shot. That makes it even easier. I thought it was like this way, you know? But yeah, you know, that means that in the overworld, if you want to throw it to like a certain thing, you know, Gabe will always auto-aim it to the nearest person. And this is just another implementation of the palette swap glitch. God damn it, I thought he would throw it backwards. Yeah, that's... The way that NPCs are programmed to react to grenades and how they run away from them, it makes them not the most reliable way to kill enemies, despite how powerful they are. And see, that can be done real fast, you just gotta get the rhythm for it down. And see, here's what happens if you just try to run off. So it's important to slow down enough to land at least on those lower boxes. But not so much that it, you know, wastes any real time. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to strafe there, stop, and then just carry the momentum of a strafe wiggle. So that I only fall a little bit and land on those boxes below. I did it actually great just earlier when I wasn't really trying to do too much with it. But as you can see, it doesn't add to your momentum the way that rolling does, but toggling like that does hold your momentum. So if you're running at a, side sprint, you're gonna go that fast, that far off a ledge. So even if it doesn't seem like that far of a drop, you might be falling to the whole ass level below you. Or under that one. But see, I also have to worry about the strafe boost. Because then, if I'm going too fast, it might still carry me too far. Like, that's what I want to do, but I want to run into it, and then I need to be still switching. And yeah, see, you can't make like too many corrective actions on this stage because it's just like, ooh, the infinite NPC spawned behind you again. So you want to be swapped into it at this point so you can just chuck it like that? No, that's too far. Oh, okay. It blows up the barrels. And then, yeah, you'd probably want to throw them at them dudes, too. Okay, but I got that checkpoint already. And yeah, pretty much everybody will have a flak jacket. There's the occasional one that doesn't, but if you're gonna shoot at one of these NPCs just randomly, you better be willing to empty the whole clip. You shouldn't... It's not... you shouldn't die, obviously, but you shouldn't take too much damage. You shouldn't really even need to recover. You should only have to really recover any significant amount of flak jacket. Damn, it gets the whole health bar. I thought I'd be able to get away with one, with a half health bar. Damn. Oh, see, that guy didn't have one. So yeah, like I said, not everyone will, just like in the catacombs and in the stronghold, but it's a matter of remembering who does and who doesn't. But in this stage, by a large part, most of them absolutely do have them. So if you need one, if you need some flak jacket, don't be afraid to headshot some people. But of course, you don't want to slow down. But there are some like some full flak jacket refills that will be necessary because there's some fire skips, and of course the momentum plays a big part in that because you need to be able to roll through a lot of these fires, but it has to be the right kind of roll in certain contexts. I think that's because I took my time getting there. They normally wouldn't blow it up. Let me take it from the top one more time, and then I'll try to get to the next one. So that's really the big one, is momentum. because especially in these later segments, there's a notable level. The second to last stage starts with a descent into the lower part of the level, and you have to like drop down from these melted beams. And it's possible to just run through them, but it's one of those things where if you're too fast or not fast enough, you'll miss the jump one way or the other, and you'll just fall to your death, and then it's just constant checkpoint after checkpoint. Or it's not even a checkpoint, you just restart the mission. You don't have to sit through the briefing again, but you have to sit through the little intro cutscene every time. So it's not a very good place to die either. There's a checkpoint immediately after. It's like a 5-second checkpoint if you can do the thing right. And the way I like to do it, I don't want to take any safeties. I want to be able to just non-stop roll from A to B to C to D and then hit the checkpoint. But that takes like some commitment to the specific route and also the button sequencing, which that's its own big thing as well, because you can stack basically all the inputs in this game together: shooting, rolling, crouching, strafing, running, turning, and even weapon toggling, which is how the palette swap trick works to begin with. You're stacking like a roll or a fall and whatever else with a toggle so that you don't actually switch weapons, you know? But it's also crucial to certain skips, because even something as simple as like a diagonal roll, like I was saying earlier, the way you angle it, that has to do with the sequencing. It matters whether you were strafing first, whether you were turning first, whether you went up first or down first. All of that changes the momentum and the angle ever so slightly. And if you're trying to cover like a gap in one roll, to avoid some damage, or so like the guy down there doesn't shoot you or whatever, you need to be able to know exactly the angle. And that's going to be critical for that stage, because if I hit a roll into a strafe, that might take me too far, but if I do a roll and a strafe at the same time, that might not take me far enough. So I might have to strafe, roll late, and then re-angle it at the end. And that's where the sequencing matters, because it's not just the input, it's not as simple as just a diagonal roll. Which of the 2 or 3 inputs and how they were stacked together absolutely does matter in that small way. So that's going to be bad. But it's also very beneficial. Part of the reason why I'm able to skip I can do the fire helicopter skip during the base escape without any kind of setup. At this point, with like an 80% accuracy or success rate, I just need to get better and better at it, obviously, so I don't choke during the speed run. But I don't have to line up any pixels, I don't have to aim for the angle or anything. I just climb up on the ledge, do my ledge skip, and the second I can move, I'm already rolling off, and then I just roll through the bottom side and I'm out of there. But see, but that only works with a very specific sequence. It's not just a side roll. If you try to just side roll off of there or turn roll or whatever else, you will die. You'll either miss it or you'll land on the fire and burn. It took me like a solid hour of just pressing the same inputs for the most part in different orders to figure out that a specific sequence would land me in the exact same spot every time from one given point. And that's how I was able to figure out that the mechanic went as deep as it did. So now it's just a matter of finding out how else I can apply it, and I think it's going to be critical mostly to... It served me well in the Stronghold, but it's going to do me a lot of good in this stage that I'm talking about. You'll see it in... So the stage after this one is just more of the same. It's like the other half of this stage, but then after that it's Warehouse 76. Which is on fire, which means it's 3 fire skips. And then you also have to do like an interact skip at the end or something like that. Then the level of that, after that, you go down into the silo access tunnels. And then the second half of that stage is when it gets all blown up and on fire. That's the stage where I'm going to be doing all the sequencing stuff. So what's going to happen is you're probably going to watch me die for like 20 minutes straight. You're going to watch me just fall over and over again. But the idea is to figure out a proper button sequence so that I don't, you know, I won't be doing it blind because that's a whole different thing, but I shouldn't have to depend on a visual or audio cue whatsoever. I should be able to just do an input like if it were a fighting game, for example, and hit exactly the thing I need to do. So we'll go more into it then. Let me refill my coffee and then I'll actually finish this stage this time, see what I can do with it. But anyway, before I jump all the way back into it, thanks for sticking around, tuning in. This will be, of course, the last of these guided sessions. So starting with tonight's session, I won't not be doing commentary, you know what I mean? But you're probably not going to hear me say much of anything when I'm doing an actual run because I'm going to be stressing. And of course, as we get closer and closer to the end of the month, hopefully with my times getting better and better, I'm going to go, right now my best time down there is 2 hours, 2 minutes. I'm going to try to whittle that down in the next 3 nights to 90 minutes. Which I know sounds drastic, but a lot of that time in that last run that I completed was from me basically doing stuff like this. I wasn't sitting there breaking it down or anything, but I was insisting on the optimal strats. Right, it would have been faster if I had just said fuck it and played it normally, but I wanted to get the skip because, you know, that's what I was doing. So for these later runs, I'll probably do more of the same, but I may not get as hung up just to whittle the time down, you know, just to get it down as I'm going. And it's not a bad idea to practice your safeties either. I also need to make a point of memorizing the more permissible failures. You know what I mean? Because some of these game overs, some of these checkpoints are very harsh. For one reason or another, they just start you real far away from where you were, or you have to watch a cutscene or whatever else. But some of them aren't so bad. So I need to get a better understanding of which checkpoints are like, okay, it's alright if I lose a few seconds here or there. But if I die at one point or another, it's just like, alright, fuck it. The speedrun's over, you know? And yes, I do stream exclusively on YouTube. I'd like to stream on Twitch as well, but I don't want to do that until I can set up a proper simulcast. And I know there are like websites and things like that that you can use to repeat the signal basically. But again, given the way I like to record and stream and all that, I wouldn't want to do anything on Twitch until I had a separate device, you know, another computer, a laptop. That was a good roll. That's how you want to fucking do that shit. That's not how you want to do the ledge climb, though. And you see how I was even able to turn around the corner of that box while I was mid-roll. But anyway, I will eventually, but I plan on getting like a superior computer, a superior machine. And I'm planning on making that a laptop specifically, just so that I can keep this desktop set up and I can do things like record and hold a primary stream. Oh, and you see how bad the rolls can be if you don't get your momentum shit. That was just basically me falling. That's the opposite of what you want to do a fucking roll for. But yeah, when that point comes, you know, videos will come out faster too, because I won't, you know, my computer won't struggle to perform. Damn. Every time I try to edit every little thing, so I'll be able to edit and publish things a lot faster. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Oh, the fuck was that? Wow. And see, there's another example of, there's a perfect example right there that I couldn't have even done on purpose of momentum stacking. What you saw right there was the momentum of me, of this jump, right? This forward momentum right there, at the peak of it just about, magnified by the momentum of you getting blown the fuck away, which is already pretty far, pretty fast. I mean, look at how fast you go flying. You put those two things together and you get the ridiculous nonsense you just saw. But that is exactly the same logic that's happening with these fucking mad rolls right there. That was a bad example. But yeah, so this game, you know, PS1 mechanics, PS1 logic. That should be alright. Ooh. And see, I messed up what I call the dog roll right there, which is when you roll when you're already technically off the ledge that you're rolling off of. Oh, I'm out of ammo. And that is challenging. You do want to watch your health, I guess. I mean, that at least canceled the landing lag, but toggling might just be faster. Might retain just as much momentum and just move me farther. Another thing to consider, because it can be pretty annoying to be trying to shoot somebody while Gabe is running normally, and then he has to pick up his gun before he shoots. Strafing forces Gabe into that position. So if you wiggle when you walk, as I've been telling you to do since the dawn of the channel, you see, you want to get that really on point. And see, somehow I was able to no-spawn these guys. Stuff like, information like that is critical. Now that I know that's possible, I can apply, you know, some of this knowledge as to maybe who I kept alive, or who I kept alive, or which direction I was facing whenever I did one thing or another. I guess I don't have to stop toggling. I just have to scroll strafe a different way. No, but if I'm already full run, it doesn't matter. So I have to stop strafing regardless. Okay. And you can see the difference in distance just whenever how you do that. Damn. And it's so easy because of the initial boost you get from going into a stray for a run, like I said. And see, I just fucked up the I didn't toggle enough, so I still took the landing lag. Damn. And yeah, these dudes just aren't here. That's helpful. But see, you know, restarting at a checkpoint could be a real possibility too. Stuff like that also influences it. So if the only way to despawn those guys is to die, it's just like, well, that's not really beneficial. It's better to just not let them kill you to begin with. There's no known way to skip these either. You just gotta watch his slow ass fucking You just gotta sit there and watch your dad kick the door to your bedroom down. And I touched on this. I touched on this yesterday with the combat stuff too, but you know, the auto aim is another abstract dynamic. So you've got your lock on, which is your R1 button, and then you've got your manual aim, which is your L1. And those work exactly how they sound. Sometimes the lock-on's a little weird, right? You imagine Gabe will aim at one of the two guys right in front of him, shooting him in the face. But you know, he'll turn to the guy behind him for whatever reason. I'm not sure what the exact like protocol or logic is with it. There does seem to be some, but you know, maybe turning again. It's one of those things where if you're strafing or doing one thing or another, that might augment it. And yeah, I love those memes. There was a Monster Hunter 3 one with the Kurapeko, which I'll play Monster Hunter eventually on the channel. I would like to replay 3 or Generations on the Switch or something like that. But I'll see what I decide on. I might just play Rise, or I might wait till the new one comes out. But yeah, the manual aim, of course, is just the manual aim.
Leon, I found shipping manifest for parts.
for parts.
Leon, check.
Leon, I found a socket wrench. I'm putting it in my truck. So there's no targets available, obviously, for the manual aim. Ooh, and that you can see the... Not only was that some fucking range and distance, but I canceled my landing lag as well, which means that I could have just as easily rolled into another roll or done whatever, but you get your manual aim, which it's just easier with one of these. But then Gabe himself, without your needing to do anything, will aim at whoever is logically most, like, in front of him, you know. And you'll notice it with the way that his gun moves. Watch whenever these guys come onto screen. You don't have to do anything and he'll shoot. Or he'll aim right at him. In the same way that, you know, there's all these different mechanic and speed boosting dynamics, shooting and the auto aim in particular seem to have their own, like, reset sort of thing. In the same way that your first step forward or your first step in a strafe is the fastest in the chain, you know, which is how you get those big boosts sometimes, or that's why you're able to do the shimmy so fast with the triggers compared to the D-pad and the first-person aim. The auto aim works sort of the same way. The first frame of the auto aim starts at like 100% accuracy, just about. And it resets similarly with strafing or with like crouching. The thing about crouching is that you actually have to hold it for a second before Gabe actually even starts to crouch. So if you want to do even that, like little dips, you have to hold it for like a half a second or something like that. You can't just press it. If you just mash it, nothing happens. Whereas if you mash square, you shoot, circle, you roll. But it still reads the input. So it kind of acts as if you were crouching, which crouching itself gives you more accuracy, but it also similarly resets that thing. So if you mash X along the square, along with the square, it kind of counts it halfway as a crouching shot, which means you can get crouching shots while running in the same way that you can do your sneaking roll while running and not losing any speed. And of course, palette swapping just gives you more utility as to which weapon you can be holding and putting them together. So for like an automatic weapon, again, especially something like the G18, which has the fastest firing rate in the game, or no, the Biz even in this stage, it'll become very useful. Having a two-handed Biz gives you a really big clip, a fast firing rate, and a two-handed weapon that lets you do your fast roll, which not only lets you evade danger easier without losing speed, but if you do it right, you see how he didn't start shooting at me until I got like a good, 2 feet away from him instead of him shooting me as soon as I rounded the corner? It's because I'm technically sneaking when I fucking do this shit. It's the same as if I was crouching away from him or doing like just regular crouching rolls. But it's a very specific input. I'm going from a sneak to a running roll. Because if you just roll while you're sneaking, you actually stop and do a crouched roll. So you have to... So you have to let go of your crouch while still moving up, but you have to roll in that frame, otherwise it counts as running. But if you do it right, it counts as sneaking. And that lets you get real up close for headshots, it lets you sneak past people easier and faster. And if you combine it with, strafing, because strafing, I guess... Like I said, if you just run and turn normally, Gabe just holds his gun, but if you strafe, he picks it up like if he were gonna shoot, which makes it easy to go into like a strafing shot, because you don't have to wait for Gabe to pick up the gun, you just strafe and shoot. Since that also influences the auto aim, if you stack all that together, and start shooting somebody, again, like I said, mashing the square and X at the same time while you're doing your little wiggle, you're getting like perfect accuracy with the auto aim. So if someone's in front of you, God forbid, fucking demolish 2 people with 1 clip. It's fucking nothing. And it comes in handy in certain stages where you have guns that have a very limited supply. See how they were strolling till like the last second? Again, it's subtle, but they'll start shooting at you pretty early, but not if you don't let them. So it all, you know, it all works. It all plays to your benefit. And now this part right here, I am going to make a restore point because I need to practice. This is another one of those context-specific parts of the speed run. There's a man down here throwing grenades at you. There's the final viral carrier is right there at the bottom of the ledge, which is your final checkpoint. And then there's some 2 dudes coming out up yonder, up this ramp. And the goal for the speed run then is to land somewhere in this general area to trigger this guy. You're getting far enough and turning the camera wide enough so that these guys will spawn, these 2 fine gentlemen. And then this guy will be triggered to throw a grenade in your direction. You run back, hit the checkpoint, and if you do it right, this guy's grenade should kill them right before you hit the checkpoint, so you'll hit the checkpoint when they're dead, which is an important safety, because if you happen to die in the following tunnel over that leads you back this way, you won't have to worry about those NPCs coming back. But it's a matter of knowing where and how. They're just like, hey bro, what are you doing over here? Well, he killed him anyway. And yeah, this is a problem part, I guess. So maybe spawn closer to this guy. Why don't I just shoot him? Yeah. I didn't even see that one guy and I still headshotted him. Oh. Oh, damn it. My emulator and my computer stink. All right. Could it be faster to just sneak? I mean, other people don't really do that, so... I mean, I never thought of doing it. Couldn't have just let me round the corner. That seems to work all right. Oh, okay, but if I do it, I can't get too close because then they'll spawn by proximity. So see, that's some of the NPC abuse I was telling you about. So sometimes just being in an area long enough or getting close enough to a specific spot in an area, that is enough to spawn an NPC. Sometimes you can be a little farther away, and if you're looking in that general direction, within a wider vicinity, but still maybe not too far away, that might spawn them as well. And then depending on the type of NPC, some sort of sound might force them to spawn as well. And that's actually critical in the second stronghold stage, where you want to use the sound of one of your guns. You usually want to be firing your PK-102 as you're running down the stairs. I wonder if that'll do it actually. Maybe not, but you do that there, and that forces one of the scientists upstairs to spawn, and that'll set them on their panic course to run downstairs and, you know, hit a circle. Here, that doesn't seem to be the case, probably because that's not really a factor. You know, it doesn't matter how much noise you're making, stealth isn't any kind of option at all. So, because it's just everybody all over the place, hostile all the time. And so here then it's just a matter of proximity and viewpoint. I need to hit it right the first time, because if I don't, I'll have gotten close enough that they spawn, so I need to get it in one. Well. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe he did hear me. Maybe that didn't trigger him to act, but it triggered like the reactivity. That's a thing as well. If they become active or engaged at first or earlier on, even if they don't show up on your radar, they can start to act on their protocol earlier. That's a big thing at the beginning of the speedrun too, with the NPC that I always call Jeremy, who is the NPC on your way out of hitting the switch underground to turn off, to shut off the subway security so that you can get to the bottom to where the bomb is. He can trap you there. An NPC will spawn on your way out of that bar area. He'll be out there with a machine gun and he can trap you in that corner, and you can lose a good second or two on the speedrun from him. But I've gone over how it's possible not to spawn him with the same stuff as well. But if you do spawn him early, if you turn too early, whatever, even if he doesn't show up on your radar, you might still flag him because the area loads whenever you turn that way. So that way, whenever you do spawn his NPC, because he's been flagged for a good second, his protocol is also ready to be executed, you know what I mean? So he will act and he will get you stuck. Whereas if you hit it from a side angle and then wait till the last second to turn, then he won't. He won't have enough time after he spawns to act. Whoops. And so you could even sneak past those dudes. God damn these people. And that's the whole point of this side run thing that I'll do in a lot of stages too, is to just not see them, because they'll spawn later and as such react later. But this tunnel's too dangerous for that, I guess. Even if they spawn later, they're lethal enough to take care of you in that shorter time. That can happen because you're usually holding the X button when you do it. Oh, they spawned right away because of that too. Or he did at least, Jesus. And so the general safer play here would be to kill people. Because even if you lose a little health from each of these dudes, you'll make it up with their own flak jackets by headshotting them. So you can probably ignore those guys regardless, but then like this dude. And you want to, in some capacity, be kind of like strafing in the direction they are generally going. But even then, if they, you know, if like the NPC, I guess, can tell that you're hitting some headshots, they'll probably strafe out of it too, you know. I know he's got a flak jacket, that's why I shot him in the head. And see, stuff like that pretty much always works with weapons like the G18 or the Biz. Because it's got that slightly higher firing rate, so it covers those in-betweens. But the strafing headshot is pretty good. And I guess here you want to kill yourself, so you want to still have a grenade. And around right here. Gabe, that's the next stage. Kill yourself. You can do that in the Fagin and Mara Dinorama stage as well, as opposed to killing Mara. I still haven't reviewed the footage, but I'm not sure how I did it. I did die one time, but I don't know if it's something that I did to influence the roll. Like, I built up so much momentum that, like, you know, I just died from the fall like that. But it's wholly possible that I was just getting shot and the audio was just fucked up and I didn't hear it, because that'll happen too. Sometimes you'll just see the visual effects and hear Gabe going, ugh, but you won't hear the gunshots. So it could have just been a coincidence that the first time I tried to, you know, kill Gabe instead of killing Mara, because it's slightly faster to just roll off the ledge than it is to aim and shoot her, to skip the interaction the way you saw me do just now by throwing a grenade. That little bit of black screen dialogue, I guess you would call it. It's probably pretty likely that I actually just coincidentally happened to get shot midair and died. And it just happened to work out for the best. Of course, something like that would be hard to replicate. And there's no real effective way to kill yourself. You could do it with a grenade throw, but in order to be able to throw a grenade at that point, you would need to have pallets swapped from the card key before you hit that final interact switch, and then just have stayed on that, which means you'd have had to... Which means no taser for Mara, actually, so it's not even really possible. Because after you scroll to the taser... Or no, you'd have to pallet swap into the taser. But in the time that it slows you down to not do the interact skip and have to aim your taser at Mara as opposed to just auto-aiming it with the auto-aim feature that I showed you earlier, it ends up costing you more time. But if I can find out a way to die really fast at the end of the Dinorama stage, that saves another, you know, miscellaneous second right there. Which, again, that's what the speedrun's all about. And so here we're going to have our fire skips, so I'm not sure that I have enough health. I'm at full armor, but I don't know how much health I need on top of that to not die here. So your first fire skip is just straight ahead. Wait. Yes, I got scared. And then I died by some other fire anyway. And like I said, there's 3 fire skips in this one stage alone. So...
Leon, ask Mara if she's sure the entrance to this... Right.
Oh. And then see, here's your second one right here, but I already don't have enough health for it. Because you're supposed to hit a checkpoint, and then you skip this one right here. And see, even with the momentum boost... Now again, going back to like complex rolling dynamics, another factor of it is that you can roll faster with a one-handed weapon. Your single fastest, most efficient roll is your standing one-handed roll. But because you can't chain another roll off of it the way you can your running roll and all these other ones, or other actions in general, it's not good for general movement and play. It's just good for like specific stuff like this. So it makes it easier to get this skip, but you're still going to lose some health, of which I have not enough. But that helps you to cover it easier. And as a matter of fact, that gets you there even a little bit farther if you hit it with a strafe, and there's your sequencing coming into play again. That was specifically a trigger, a strafing roll. A simultaneous strafing roll. I hit the right strafe and the roll at the same time. And that hit me hard at that angle. If I do the roll first, it's mostly the same. If I do the strafe first, then it becomes a running roll. And then incorporating the D-pad, incorporating any given direction, that becomes a little more sensitive too then, because then that, whether or not you press that with or after your roll input, determines whether or not you're hitting, say, a diagonal roll, or if you're just turning your side roll. Because you can see the difference. That's just a side roll with a curve on it. And the other one is a whole ass turn diagonal roll. And you can see how much slower it is with a two-handed than a one-handed. The idea, though, of all the palette swapping that I'm constantly doing, so that I can have a weapon like this as a two-handed, is so that I can have my two-handed roll, and I never have to worry about stopping or the dynamics. But then that also means having to recalculate things like this for my own playstyle. If I want to do it the way that I do, if I want to capitalize on, you know, my palette swapping tactic, then I need to be able to figure out, again, the sequence for it. I need to know how exactly to get through there. The exact input sequence, rather. And it's also just a matter of health. And when this gun says it cuts through flak jackets, it doesn't just mean it does like double damage, or it like literally ignores flak jackets. It only hits health. So you'll be able to pick up their flak jacket even if you just fucking gun them down normally. And see, you're gonna need at least yeah, you want to come in here full health, full armor for sure. Oh. And that's what can happen at these later stages if you fuck up something as simple as a ledge skip. The safety, I guess, worst comes to worse. And see, if you gotta do the dog roll there to avoid landing lag, because if you roll anywhere still on the crate, then you'll roll too soon, and then you'll still land hard on your feet. And then here's your final fire skip. But you have to wait for the elevator to click. And so yeah, that's gonna be... This is another stage like Romer's Bunker, in where the true difficulty comes in the previous stage. Or at least, or more accurately, the stage is building up to it. And see, they still leave you cover. So see, stuff like this in a speedrun is nowhere near optimal, but it's the sort of thing that could keep me from taking 30-40 minutes while I try to do it the quote-unquote right way, you know? God damn it. That should be enough then. Oh. And that's how you want to do that little part of it. But as you can see, even if you go there with full health and full armor, you'll have to kill at least a couple of those guys for enough health for everything. And then coming down into this stage, things are a lot simpler. It's just, you know, get good, don't die. But there's some specific instances. There is right towards the beginning here, there's going to be a little ledge climb. But Leon's going to try to call you right at the same time, so you have to come at it from like a hard angle. But all that nonsense I was showing you earlier with those dumbass interactions, you know, strafing into ledge climbs and things like that, that's about to come into play right there, because it makes that very easy. Because now, instead of risking, you know, turning too far and not clipping the ledge and then answering the phone call instead, you don't have to turn. You can just have that wide cone of interaction, like I said, and right as soon as that call's coming in, you're already climbing up the ledge and, you know, you're good. It makes little things like that easier as well. Which that also extends back to the stronghold stages. I guess I may as well touch on it while I'm talking about these abstract concepts today. The way story items work, because, you know, sometimes there are locked doors that need key cards, sometimes you need to plant C4, etc., etc. These items share a model with grenades. That is, they don't really have a model. It looks like Gabe is just standing there. But the way they work exactly like their corresponding interaction. So if something wants you to press triangle to plant a C4, pressing square with the C4 equipped in that area works exactly the same way, but only within the proximity of its corresponding interactable. So the C4 on the bunker stage or on the base stage, for example, only does anything at the tankers where you have to plant it, which seems obvious. But the point of that, the reason why that's relevant, has more to do with the way that it interacts. Because what it does, it works through your square input, but the game's not actually reading it as a square input. It's reading it as a triangle input, just like any other interaction. So it's effectively no different input-wise as far as what the controller and the game are understanding as you just pressing the triangle button. But it works like an automatic weapon. It's just rapid firing the toggle. So pressing square on a story item with its interactable is the same as mashing triangle at like turbo speeds, but only within that proximity. The reason why that matters, especially in the stronghold, is because there are a couple of times where Markinson will call you right as you need to interact with some Syphonfilter patients. So if you have your antigen equipped, which works the same way with the Syphonfilter patients, the second you go to interact with them, it'll rapid fire mash the triangle input and you'll answer the phone call with Markinson without having to waste time to actually press the triangle button yourself. Again, it saves another little like microsecond. But the reason why but the most important part of it is that it triggers with proximity, so you know you're right where you need to be for the interact, so you can just mash the interact as well without wasting any time realigning or remashing an input or anything. The microseconds lost in button management are made up for with that distinct interaction. And it comes in handy with those two Syphonfilter patients, but it also comes in handy with like the first tanker of the base stage and a couple of other instances. It's nothing that you really want to dedicate too much time to, but it acts as a good safety. This song is really cool, and you never really get a chance to hear this much of it. Because this stage is so actionable, you're always hearing the intense version of it. It's actually a really long loop too. It's like a 6-minute song. Or like 4 or 5 or something like that. Let me get some water before I start this real quick. Ugh. I think that about covers it, though. You know, on top of all of the other more blatant stuff from the last few days. And again, timing a lot of this stuff right, you know, just means the difference between catching a ledge on descent and having to land right in front of it and then jump up to it. Again, minor stuff, but with, you know, the hundreds of interactions throughout the game collectively, throughout the speedrun, I should say, it more than adds up. So here, I guess you just ignore the guys at the beginning. And then, yeah, you want to strafe into that ledge interaction.
Watch out down there, Gabe.
Check.
That's not what I meant to do. That's the opposite of what I wanted to happen to me. Damn, I reloaded. And see, there's the dangers of reloading in a speedrun.
Watch out down there, Gabe.
Check.
If you're shooting before... If you're shooting before you aim, you'll shoot the headshot a little faster. If you don't stink. I just don't like wasting the ammo on these guys is all. And see, that gun right there is probably maybe the best. So it's got a huge clip and a really fast firing rate. The only potential downfall I think there is to it is, like I said, that it's a one-handed ammo, which means a slower, or a one-handed weapon, which means a slower roll and, you know, all that stuff. But again, all we have to do about it is palette swap. Don't want to do that in a speedrun either. Accidentally press start instead of select. Now you have this as a two-handed. Which this paired with your fast sneaky roll means the easiest headshots in the game. Look at how long it takes this dude to react. And then this is what I was talking about. This is gonna be... I should be able to survive that drop, the drop to those boxes. You cannot survive a drop to the floor. And it's only one layer of boxes right up against the wall. So you can't fall even a little bit too far anywhere here because you're dead. And you can't really even land on here. Landing anywhere too far there would be detrimental anyway. So the idea is to do the same little wiggle that I did earlier, but and see, the whole point of the weapon toggle is to cancel that landing lag that you saw where he's landing real hard on his feet, but it also carries your momentum, so it makes it easier to do that even by just a little bit.
Watch out down there.
I probably should have restore pointed. And yeah, that strafe headshot is just unbelievable. I reloaded again. And yeah, weird stuff like that happens. One time, when I was doing like my little, you know, rolling shenanigans. Damn. I was doing my little rolling shenanigans in the stronghold when I was first practicing that initial jump. And a part of this whole rolling trick is pressing the X button, technically landing on a crouch as you land to ignore the slight landing lag. And that's also how you override it with other inputs like strafes or other rolls. And what happened was I fell, you know, to my death, but I stuck the landing. So like it skipped the death screen and it like gave T-posed and it faded straight to black. I think it was on one of the streams. I'd have to look for it. Don't cock the shotgun. Oh. It should be... Damn. Nah, there's gotta be an easy way to strafe that headshot. No way there isn't. They can still get you for a second if you crouch, and I think if you walk, I think the slight movement of like your head, I think the game will detect it. Jeez. And see, that's got to be like one of those trust inputs, you know what I'm saying? You got to believe that you're going to get it. Because if you try to time it in any way, you know what I'm saying, you'll miss it. And it'll actually just take you longer. The problem with that little exploit I'm talking about is that for guns like this, it slows you down. Come on. What was it reading those as? Like shoulder bullets? Oh, I must have gotten this from that one NPC at the end of the warehouse. I couldn't remember where I picked this up from. Can't stand that, dude. And see, I still didn't do it. I I'm actually afraid that if I roll all the way down there from up top, it'll probably kill me.
Watch out down there, Gabe.
Check.
Man, that's some nonsense. I keep forgetting the Biz is one ahead. I went too far.
Gabe, those late.
Right.
Ah, sweet. Fucking water bottle just popped behind me and terrified me. I gotta not mash the square input with the Biz. Or the G18. It works with like the PK and the M16.
Right.
Good enough. Aiming for the headshot with these guys is probably a little bit on the slow side, though. Where the oh. I thought I was already at the elevator room.
Watch out down there, Gabe.
Check.
And yeah, that's probably the benefit of this gun here. Is this specific sequence, I would say. He's like, well, I don't know what to do now. Cool. Oh, jeez. Goddamn right. That's to say the least. So yeah, that's definitely the way to do that. It may not be necessary, but it's 100 times easier. Is my official rating. So at this point, I want to be toggled onto my grenades, and I want to.
Leon, is there...
Okay, so I have time because of the dumbass phone call to set it up. But right there, I palette swapped from a ledge interact instead of a roll. And there you go. Oh, that might actually work. I just might like the stink of that one. How easy is that to do every time? Can I roll into that shit? Absolutely not, apparently. But I can fucking scroll into it. Oh, that'll carry you. That'll take you elsewhere. Another good example. So not as... And it's one of those things where it's just like you do it great the first time. It needs to be more close to the top. That top layer is enough for me not to die. Or what if I just hit it like this? Hit a little juke with it first. That didn't do anything. And this still isn't even the part where I said earlier that you would see me dying over and over again. Mind you. But this is gonna be... I want to get this part down. This is another critical save, I think. And you can't even do like any kind of corrective action or momentum, you know what I mean? It's just... Once you're flying that way at that speed... Cause see, the alternative is fucking this. Well, in that case... it's not even enough to carry me that way. What is this way? Oh. And see, it's easier on that other one because, you know, the lower layer of boxes is the other way around. It's the same way that you're running off of, so you can always catch the bottom as a safety. This is just the two. Either one will work, but it's just... And see, you can't start weapon toggling once you're already falling. That might not be bad. I really just tried to interact, skip an elevator. That fucking water bottle. Damn. Ouch. My ass. Fucking Simpsons hit and run. Come on, get down there, snake. Not... I need some kind of visual marker. And then toggle to my shotgun. Swap into the biz. Give these guys the business. And then ignore the second batch of guys, I believe. I know for a fact, actually. I don't know why I'm jiving with you. That fucking ledge grab always gets me, because it's a standing ledge grab, but he doesn't jump for it. So I always miss the timing. And don't go down the other elevator. Go behind you. I always fuck up and go down that elevator. Which, of course, that's just a gigantic time waster. You can get past these guys just a little bit easier with your sneaky fast roll. And then you can clip these guys from the corner. You can't properly interact skip them, but you can wide angle them, which of course still makes it faster. I fucked it up, but that's the goal, ultimately. And now this is the part where you're gonna watch me die over and over again, because this is gonna be one of those instances where sequencing is a big deal.
Gabe, are you there? Gabe.
Check.
Because you want to hit, first of all, this thing, which I missed. And see, this is already bad equipment management because I'm one-handed.
Check.
Let's see what's going just straight up does with this. And see, you'll run into the fire if you just try to go completely straight. So, that's out of the window completely. So you probably got to do a little corrective strafing, at least to hit that corner, but then you might hit the fire on the other side. And then I need to get, I guess, a good visual marker for that. Oh, that might be another way to do it too. Going slightly through the front of it. You can't jump straight to the second one, is the problem too. You have to at least touch down on the first one. And see, unfortunately it doesn't line up with the ones on the walls either. It's not like it's, you know what I'm saying, it's all jagged. So that beam goes down there. Maybe if I don't try to toggle and I just run, if I don't hold as much momentum, he'll just grab the ledge. That's exactly what he'll do. And this one does kind of line up, actually. And you can, if you toggle while back walking, you won't grab onto ledges. So I can hit him with one of these then. Oh shit, that's the way. Now it's fucking moving in the dark that gets me. Give him the fucking business. And again, the sneak roll lets you get in much closer than you normally would, even if it's just by a couple of steps. And even if you fuck it up and die, it's fine. Not really, but... And see, it's finding my way after as well that throws me off. Oh. So it looks like you wait for them to spawn and then you give them one more roll. Unless they're walking towards you. You actually don't have to waste time killing that guy. But I guess flak jacket. The square mash... The square mashing is also good for conserving ammo, but that's not really an issue with the biz. It is if you don't reload, though. And yeah, I can't be taking this kind of time to kill people, though, is the problem. But you gotta get the general feel of doing it all together down to really refine in between. And see, you won't even trigger his proximity if you sneak roll onto him right. Without having to, you know, waste time actually sneaking. See how close you can get to these dumb fucks? Ooh, and I gotta get good at doing that every time. I landed right on the fucking bridge, man. That was incredible. They fucking killed me, huh? And that's the only checkpoint, unfortunately. And yeah, I've got restore points, but I mean, checkpoints are also, you know, you don't want to have to rely on a checkpoint when you're doing a speed run, but... And see, I really got to figure this shit out. That's the worst part about this checkpoint. And see, that one only starts shooting because he literally sees you. If there was some way to bypass him, you could sneak up on him too. But that's just where he happens to be, turning. But like these guys, since they're walking away from you, they can't see you, so as long as you don't fuck up your sneak like I just did. And yeah, you can't just roll off of there. I thought I was gonna clip the ledge and climb down. So where am I relative to this landing? Just about where I need to be, huh? Makes sense. I wish they'd blip that guy on the radar sooner. That would give you some kind of evidence as to where you are. And yeah, these later segments are the other major contributor as to why my current times are taking so long, up to a couple of hours still. And over the course of tonight, tomorrow night, and the night after, I'm going to be trying to whittle that down to 90 minutes. And see, sequencing is important in those rolls too. Sometimes you'll see me do a standing roll by accident out of like a headshot or something similar. Oh, you can't even do that. I was hoping that would be a faster way to do it, but it's not a momentum thing then, it's just distance. As far as that specific drop is concerned, it's just high enough. But I guess not if you climb. Oh. Shoot him in the dick from a distance like fucking Rogue Ops for Nintendo GameCube. Don't ask me why I'm plugging Rogue Ops during Syphonfilter awareness. Ow. I would imagine. Oh. You want to use those arches as your cue, and I could swear I hadn't hit the first one yet. You could always do something like this. And then just fucking hit him with one of these. Ah, damn. But see, if you fuck it up, you gotta set it up all over again. It's time consuming, so I don't know that it could be really practical in a speed run. But now you've got unlimited flashlight. It will call attention to you, obviously. And I also think it slows the game down, though. Because, you know, all the extra stuff that's happening, all the illuminated pixels. And yeah, it just makes all this more dangerous anyway. It'd be nice to see here, but whatever. It's not wholly necessary. So there's one arch, 2 arch and the wall. That's what I was trying to do, more or less. Oh, come on, dude. And sneak rolling, I guess, will also keep that dude from hearing you, so that's good. Oh. Oh. Yeah, don't forget to turn around. Yeah, I kept thinking it was those 2 dudes earlier. And then just maybe go on a straight shot here. Man, that singular dude is trying to fuck me up. And then here you're supposed to like pause it.
Leon, I found the elevator down to the silo. See?
And then here's the one. The final one, that is. So you can see even me just trying to play through it, it's a little troublesome. You know, the game gets hard there, like I said, and it shows in the speed run. Of course, once you get the routine down more and more refined, it takes mastery of the routine itself takes a little bit away from the skill, the overall skill effort itself, which is what you want. You don't want to have to try to be completely accurate. You want to leave as much as you can to routine and rhythm and, like I said, button sequence. But it's a matter of finding out those sequences, like I said. Like if you hit the D-pad and then hit R2 and turn exactly this much, and then like mash square or something, you'll always get a headshot on Benton or on Mara or whatever else. Things like that. You don't want to have to completely rely on sight or sound, if at all. You know, it should just make it all the easier to have it. And here it's actually very short. The only thing about it is that there's a specific trick to it. You know, you get this first little area, shoot a couple of guys, go down the elevator, and then after you get the code from the missile, it starts to launch. And you have like a 5-second timer to make it to that bunker door. Otherwise, you die and you reload at that checkpoint right there. It's not a very bad checkpoint. It only loses you a few seconds, but you don't want to die is the point. But the thing is, the thing that kills you isn't actually the fire from the rocket. It's not really programmed like that, as I mentioned earlier. It's just the timer. If you don't make it there in time, you die. But you can still mash an input, I guess, while you're in there. And you can roll back out, and as long as the cutscene triggered, you can run right through all the rocket fire. So in the time that it would take the elevator to, or the bunker door, bay door, whatever, to open back up, you're already running halfway to the elevator.
Leon, I don't think this is an abandoned silo. Right.
Leon, I don't think a plane did all this by itself. Shit. Oh, that's okay. There's your fucking interact skip. And here's the... I have no idea how to do it though. You roll in and then you roll out. But I didn't. It might be something to do with the timing of the roll going in. And my thing froze again, it looks like. Hold on. I don't know if this is just because of all the stuff that I have on with it. Like I said, my computer's just not that good. And then I should just be able to... Oh, hold on. There we go. Probably something like that. You want to be like in the middle of the door. You want to be wedged in there. Damn it. It's got to be something like that. So see, it's not getting here that's very hard to do. It's whatever it is you have to do to roll back out. I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before. God damn it. Yeah, that happens when I save state too much, which is why I try to just wait for checkpoints and all that, but in this case I was trying to have my, you know, my two-handed up. It just immediately froze at the same spot again. And see, this is another reason why I ordered that PS2. The main reason, of course, is because it has the fast disk speed, and it's the fastest way to play the game in general. It plays fastest, and it also loads the fastest in between stages. Okay, there we go. Wow, I guess it's just gonna do that every time I try to save state. I guess I'm not gonna save state anymore. It probably also has to do with how long the emulator's been running. From what I hear, especially as far as like PS2 or PlayStation emulators go, PC or EPSXE, which is the one I'm using, is along one of the worst ones, but it is the main one that is accepted by the Speedrun.com community, whatever. So that's what... There we go. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm going to try to adhere to, you know. It's not clear as to what conditions on an emulator match a fast disk PS2, because I'm thinking overclocking probably will achieve the same effect as far as the PS1's disk speeds go. But I don't know what's considered cheating, you know, there's not too many hard rulings on that sort of stuff. I have no idea what to do. Oops. I thought it was on the side for some reason. Even though the only thing that could fit there is the elevator. So, whatever I was thinking. Damn. If you don't get the insta-kill, it's probably safest to just go on a murdering spree. Maybe not an excessive one, but as much as you need to kill these nonsense men. These silly FEMA guys. Is the checkpoint still the rocket, I think, right? Oh, fuck. I should have been weapon toggling first. And see, it like despawns you, so there's probably like a tiny window that you have to do whatever it is you have to do there. That's what they said about 2020, Leon. Another critical application of the fast sneak. That scientist won't start running until later. This guy won't notice you until the last second. Until he literally turns to see you. And then here's another implementation of these side interacts. With this crate right here, you can get teleported to it, strafe away. Ah, I fucked up Romer. You're supposed to throw the gas grenade first. Look at that, 360 something bullets, man. You can just fucking... So yeah, fast sneak is critical here so that the scientist doesn't start running away from the headshot. Come around this corner and then, yeah, again, hug the window and then, like, do your little teleport with the crate. I think I still fucked up Romer.
Leon, I made it. I'm triggering the missile's
Are you still alive?
Oh no, I'm out of fucking gas grenades. So yeah, the way you want to do Romer is you want to throw the gas grenade where I thought I was fucking throwing it first, but you know, he wanted to chuck it all the way up in the air. But yeah, I forgot to actually do the crate interact. I tried to toggle it like you would a bomb, and that doesn't work with crates. You have to interact it like you would any other standing switch.
Gabe, I'm intercepting frantic calls from NATO Command. They're tracking the missile's launch. All European commands are being ordered to DEFCON 3. If you don't get to the detonator on level 2 in time, we're looking at World War III.
Oh, God. That should be fine, though. You shouldn't take any more damage if you do it right. And that's how you do Romer.
Leon, I made it. I'm triggering the missile's
So this is actually the easier part. It's just I have no idea how to do the rollout trick, I'm calling it. The Optimus Prime technique. So I probably won't be relying on that tonight or for the next couple of nights, but I probably will be practicing it.
All of this. What's happened here? Markinson's involvement with Fagin, Romer, their plans, the virus?
What's it all mean? I don't know. With Markinson dead, I don't know.
So I'm gonna try to just commit to... Let's see if it doesn't crash on me. Yep. No, yeah, I'm gonna try to commit to... practicing more of those tricks, but I'm just gonna try to get whatever best time I can. I am gonna go just for the personal best for these next few runs. But after a while, I may go back to not guided sessions, but you know, more isolated sessions at least. But that is the end of that one right there. And that's probably about as long as this stream is going to go, effectively. But again, I'll be streaming again in like 4.5 hours. And again, that stream will probably last at least a couple of hours, you know, going off my previous run. Just to highlight some more sequencing stuff. This little area right here is going to save me a lot of time the way I figured out how to do it. But I need to be able to capitalize beyond it, you know. Because instead of having to line up any kind of pixel or do anything, all I gotta do is hug the corner right here, and then with the right button sequence, I can just roll exactly to where I need to be every time. But see, that's still a very real problem. That still happens about half the time. It doesn't matter if I eat a little bit of damage there or not, but if I hold one direction or another too long, that's more problematic than the rest of the lineup. And that's what I'm talking about. It's little things like that that make those sorts of time saves irrelevant. And sequencing in this case also affects the momentum things we were talking about. If you want to be able to roll through enough of the fire fast enough to not die, even when you're at full health, then you have to go far and fast enough. There we go. And then you do a little shenanigans here with the cameras again. And those guys will spawn hard on proximity anyway. So you might just have to kill those guys regardless. But see, there's your sequencing in action. Because if you do it any other way than the specific input that I'm not going to give away quite yet to do that, it just won't work. You'll go too far one way or the other. You won't. It's possible to land on top of the plane. I've done that one time completely by accident. But it's easier and more consistent to just you know, do it like that. And beyond that, in an earlier segment for this group of stages, going back to the fast sneak, this is probably the best example of it, because the current strategy for this is to just, you know, blaze through it on alert mode. But here's the way I like to do it.
I found a fuel tank.
And there's that interaction that I mentioned earlier, where holding square is just like a triangle input. So it mashes it as soon as I reach it. There's your cinnamon roll. Your crescent rolls, and damn, that dude heard me. So that makes it all redundant. So as a safety, my safety for this stage is to then continue on with the intended route. Which at this point you'd have done the whole thing blazing through it. But you know, there's your no spawn technique, so you don't even have to waste time fighting those guys. And then restarting at checkpoint. This is the current way you'd want to do it, but I use it as a safety if my way doesn't work. Damn. This is still kind of a problem area too. Just because the combat aspect here is, you know, it's on alert status, so it can be problematic with those guys. So one thing I'm considering doing, another way I was saving time, was by avoiding the combat shotgun, which you'll usually see people go for. I was trying to find a way to bypass the need for it by exploiting the pallet swap glitch that's necessary in this stage. You know, for the fake grenade that I was using earlier. Oh, and see, there you go. Right there, I wasn't even pressing triangle, I was pressing square, but you see how it acts just like a triangle press whenever you're up to its interactable. So you got to be careful on that turn, because if you get too close to that corridor, Leon calls you. But yeah, now this way all I have to do is just roll into it with the square input held, and it'll just do the interact for me. And the point of hitting that kind of maneuver right there is to avoid a little bit of the lag that comes with that guy and the searchlight spawning. Going at it from a side with a roll, oh shit, okay. So I can't get the combat shotgun without slowing down or getting detected. So that's actually not that great. No, yeah, but there's some lag that comes with those guys spawning, so going at it from a strafe with a roll, you know, and then turning the camera only when you're going to get the headshot ensures that they don't spawn and start lagging the game, you know, until the last second, so it's less detrimental.
I found a fuel tank. I planted the first explosive.
That guy at the bottom can still see you too, so you gotta be quick about it. Ooh, and I fucked up the momentum on that one. Damn it. And you know what? It might actually just be easier to pallet swap back into the C4 altogether.
I've discovered why every mission
After I kill that guy, I really shouldn't have to shoot anybody until Gabrick anyway.
check. I found a fuel tank.
And see, you can straight up just like clip that dude right in the ankles and you'll get busted. But yeah, this might be with the way to do it then. Again, pallet swap for your two-handed roll, but then that was too fast, I guess. You need to be able to shoot straight, because if you turn to the left, you'll trigger that call with Leon.
Check. I found a fuel tank. I planted the first explosive.
And then no reload with it either, so that's good. Damn. And here's the first instance of this being like necessary too, is this stage.
I found the power to the motion sensors. I'm heading over to the bunkers now. That's the last explosive. I'll trigger the timer once I'm on the roof and have disabled their radar.
Copy.
That's a bit of a slowdown, but it's no slower than stopping to get the combat shotgun to begin with. So that'll work. You just have to time the fake grenade toss right. And I'm good with 30, so I'm just going to avoid combat. 30 is plenty with the PK-102 that gets replenished in this stage. It's just tricky getting that grenade toss to work, because sometimes not all three of them will run away, or one thing or another will go wrong. Because it's really just a matter of having enough ammo for this first stage, being able to kill this guy and do all that. As long as you can kill that dude, that's enough PK-102 ammo as far as I'm concerned.
Check your fire. Damaging that missile could set it off.
Pallet swapping is also an effective way to toggle through your weapons without actually needing to stop. Damn it. Damn. And then at this point, I'm fine with wasting all my PK-102 ammo. Because you really just need it for this. And then this over here. And then at this point, you're good. Just hit them interact skips.
I've got the last code. I'm gonna try to find a way up to the radar tower on the roof. Get ready to lift off.
I'm ready.
Leon, I found the elevator to the roof. Get ready to dust off.
Gabe, the force is falling to control.
And then interact skipping is just a matter of interacting while shooting and moving at the same time, which is easiest to time with an automatic weapon because it's almost impossible with a single fire weapon.
Leon,
And then here, definitely get your flak jacket, get your PK-102, shoot the switch, reload, and pause. I forgot to reload. Yes. Now the important part is doing all that and then making sure you get this in one go. This is the fucking cherry on the cake. Or whatever the fuck you call it. Yes. And you definitely don't want to be stuttering up against the walls. And there goes that. And see, it's such a subtle thing there. Dying instantly or making it, sometimes even without taking damage. And this is actually probably better. as far as killing those people go. Damn. If you really need the extra muscle, there's a flak jacket behind you. You don't want it to be necessary though, you know. You don't want to have to stop for even that. Because it, you know, all those little pauses all act to take away from skips like this. Which there goes the wrong sequence of doing it. You can still get it, but it's a lot slower and it lines you up differently for the next part. It's not as easy a spot to maneuver out of when you do it that way. Yeah, I felt myself do the input wrong that time. And see, it gets confusing, especially with the pressure of like, oh fuck, I'm losing time on the speed run. It's just like, it can all go south real quick. And we all know what's south. Nothing good. Alright, come on. You can also go up that ramp that other way, but it's slightly slower. And there you go, there's the despawn at work. I might want to turn earlier. And you don't even got to worry about this dude. And sometimes that cutscene lets you skip it faster, like by a second or so, and I have no idea why. And you're about to see more of that same interaction with the story items right here too, with this Syphonfilter patient. And you can see how many of those dynamics we talked about came into play just in that little sequence. I fucked it up, you can get it much faster than that. But yeah, just hold the square button and as soon as you touch them, you'll answer the phone call.
I found the first group of them. Right.
Saves ever so slightly an amount of time. A non-negligible one. And here it's probably for the best to just use this. Damn. Not if you fuck it up though. And then here's another application of the grenade glitch. Or you'll see it here in a second. You gotta be careful with the gas. And then I'm about to do another palette swap, but you're gonna see the climbing variant of it. Because it doesn't have to be on a roll, it can be on a fall. But I find it's easier to do it on a climb. And there's the most benefit to it, because you can get it faster. So at this point I'm going to switch to the shotgun, because I can still do an interact skip. Switch to my sniper rifle. And then on the climb up that window, you'll see me toggle here to the gas grenades to avoid lag. And then you'll see me pallet swap at the window. Damn. You saw me fuck up the pallet swap is what happened. And that's a trickier sequence right there, that whole series of inputs. For one, if you set up the... You want to make sure you've thrown a gas grenade, first of all. Because if you don't, whenever you use that the grenade glitch, you'll just throw a regular-ass grenade, you know? Which you don't specifically want in this context. You want a gas grenade for the insta-kill. But you have to kind of activate it by throwing the gas grenade. So that's something more context and glitch specific in this case, but... Still, it's still a dynamic you want to get the hang of and understand. Damn it. So yeah, there can be trouble here early on, especially if you don't get that one part as quickly as you should, which I didn't. But yeah, the shotgun is technically an automatic weapon because all you have to do is hold square and it'll continuously shoot, which means you can do interact skips with it, which is good for the Syphonfilter patients especially because it can be kind of dangerous to do it with a PK-102. Because if it's still spamming the input, then you shoot them in the head and they die. Or if you shoot them anywhere, once they die, because they have fucking Syphonfilters, so they're pretty much dead already. And see, you want to toggle before you hit the switch so you're not in the middle of an interact. Same thing, you want to toggle as soon as you turn around to the sniper rifle, so that way you can kick in the door as soon as possible. Oh, and see, I didn't set up the gas grenade glitch, but it still worked. Stop shooting our dad. As always, I don't need to see. But anyway, yeah, you'll get more of this tonight whenever I do the actual run. But just to show you how frequently and how early a lot of these dynamics come into play, all this stuff has to be considered from the beginning, even with like this first mob. And this is what's problematic about the early speedrun, is that all these stages have the fucking bomb squads. And spawning the NPCs around them effectively, quickly, the right amount, so that you don't fail the objective. It's all a lot of work. So everything from the angle that I run in here at, to when I turn around, who I kill first. And see, I fucked up because I didn't spawn this other guy down here. Instead, he spawned right there. And that means I have to wait. And if you spawn him really wrong, if you spawn him too close to CBDC, one guy will spawn close up to him and kill him, and you might actually even fail this first objective, which is horrible for the speedrun. Let me turn off my hot-ass radiator heater.
When does the operation begin?
Our intelligence within the FBI was not clear, but Romer's men are already inside the subway.
Is it the same virus?
Yes, enough to...
And while I'm going over the abstract mechanics, I may as well cover this one, because it's actually the first thing you want to do in the speedrun. This is kind of a weird asterisk in it. The current first place holder implements this strategy, and it's recognized, so
Who's the other one?
you know what I'm saying, it counts, so you want to do it so long as it counts. But I personally don't think it should, and eventually I think it might not, because I'm going to show you a little trick you can do. Another weird thing with this game's mechanics. Most missions start off the same. You'll get a briefing, a pre-rendered cutscene, and then an in-game little cinematic like this. Whenever you watch the cinematic in completion, if you don't skip it, if you watch all of it and then restart, you know, the mission, or not even the mission, if you restart if you restart the mission and go back to the briefing, it will skip the pre-rendered cutscene for some reason. So you just mash out of the briefing, and then instead of going into the Benton stuff to where you skip it, it skips right over to that, which saves you like 3 seconds right off the beginning. Now you're probably wondering how that saves you time since you have to restart the mission. The thing is, it's all on a technicality, you know what I mean? So normally the way you'd set it up is you'd go into the mission, you'd start the briefing, skip the cutscene so you can see how much time it saves you, and then let this load like I said. But the thing is, right, the speedrun wouldn't start yet, right? The timer's still at 0. And because this is the first mission, the way it works, now that that information is queued or whatever, the next time I load up the briefing for this mission, so long as I don't load up another briefing, it will skip the pre-rendered cutscene. And because it's the first mission, I can just quit to the main menu, and since a speedrun doesn't technically start until you hit new game, this is when you'd hit your timer. And this is how I'm going to do it, you know, to save that time, because it's, like I said, currently accepted. But since it's on the technicality that, you know, you need to start the game and do some stuff, I think it should count at the first new game, which would of course make it redundant, because then it would just take all the extra time to set it up for no reason. But until that point, I mean, there's no reason not to do it. It's similar to that Ocarina of Time glitch that I've made fun of once or twice. Anytime you've ever seen me like run up against a wall in a game and talk about Ocarina of Time doing this, I'm making fun of a similar situation in the Ocarina of Time speedrunning community. Because there's a glitch that enables you to... For a while, the fastest way to jump from an early point in the game to the credits was to beat Goma, the first boss, and then do some nonsense with the Deku Seed to pull out a fake ocarina and warp to Ganon's castle. What people have found that you can do since then is you can just do a bunch of shenanigans in the Kokiri Forest, and by interacting with a sign and then picking up some grass and then not putting it down and backflipping out of an animation or something, you can hug up on a wall and you'll crawl through like a fake hole in that wall, and it'll warp you to the end credits straight up. And there were people who, well, I guess the guy who initially discovered it was trying to like submit it for a speedrun or something like that, but it was ultimately declined on the technicality that the entire setup was dependent on another save file. You know what I mean? Having very specific save data on the cartridge or on the, you know, on the ROM. So on the technicality that you couldn't implement the strategy without what was effectively multiple hours of setup, it was just made redundant. The idea being that You know, if you told me that was the fastest way to beat Ocarina of Time, and I gave you a fresh, still wrapped in cellophane copy on the Nintendo 64, it would take you like 10 hours to show me that trick. Meaning it's not actually that fast. But as it stands for Syphonfilter, it's you know, it's accepted, so I'll be doing it for sure. But yeah, those spawns are a big problem early on. You know, for that reason. All the NPC logic, spawning them the right way. And then in most of those, you're not able to leave the area without failing unless you've reached a certain threshold of enemies not only killed, but spawned. There are some exceptions, but for the most part, you have to kill at least 4, or you can get away with killing as little as 3 NPCs in most instances. And there's your camera work. There's Jeremy. This is the guy I was talking about. It's my dad's friend. So like the thing with Jeremy is that he's programmed to spawn like right here. But if you come out of this elevator the way that I do every time, and if you hit the side angle, at most I'm looking like this way. If you turn too far this way, even if you're outside, this will load up like that residual area of the map. And because there's an NPC triggered to spawn there, it'll kind of like hold that data. So then by the time you get close enough to spawn it, or once you've turned enough, what happens is, since his information has been queued there for long enough, he'll start moving and getting in the way. But if you keep your distance kind of, and then strafe, and then do a long strafe into this way, and then you don't even really have to turn if you can do it right. If you roll onto that side of the window, he won't spawn until you're rolling out, which won't give him enough time to execute his protocol until after you've been released from his cold, heartless grip, you know? Because he'll ruin your time early on. But anyway, as you can see, I'm just diddling about now. I'm still trying to display some of the usefulness of this stuff. The main reason I'm coming down to the subway is to show you the real usefulness of these long jumps. Couldn't have fucked it up harder. But it definitely works. You just gotta know when to release and press all the different buttons. Oh, clip my fucking heel. But yeah, specifically in these sorts of instances, like in the subway where you are trying to go from... Because you're going to go that way for the bomb, then you have to go back across to the center, and then again down the other side to another corridor. And on your way out, or on the next stage, you'll have to do it again to go to and from the gas main. And if you want to be really, really quick with that one, yeah, if you really want to be quick with the gas main and all that, then you have to get good at doing these complicated rolls that I showed you backwards, basically. Not like reverse inputs, but you have to do it from the perspective of Gabe rolling to a backwards diagonal angle, which makes it a little more challenging. Let me load a bowl, or let me hit this bowl before I turn my fan on, because it's getting warm in here. And like I said, depending on how the run tonight goes, I may pause for commentary or intermission. But so long as an active run is going, I probably won't even have my microphone turned on. So, you know, if you want to engage, if you want to do whatever, you know, go ahead. But you know, it's obviously a very attention demanding thing to speedrun a game, so I probably, like I said, just won't be responding or really able to see the stream at all, so. Of course, that will be different when we go back to normal streams, just regular gameplay sessions, but... Oh, and you can always fuck up the first fire skip. There's nowhere in the rulebook that says it won't kill you.
Check.
Your cinnamon roll right here, land on top of the crate, and then dog walk it, or duck walk it.
That should be all the C4 you need to blow open that passage.
And I'm fucking up these rolls. Oh yeah, I don't have shotgun ammo. So yeah, strafing, kind of wiggling into this makes it easier to actually get the shot going for the interact skip. Because, you know, sometimes you won't want to shoot for a second. And then here's that backwards, here's them rolls coming in clutch.
Leon, I found the gas main. I'm shutting it down.
And I think I was too slow on the turnaround with that. And yeah, watching a speedrun can always be pretty fun. Especially for me, the first time I saw like the tricks for some of the speedruns for this stuff. You know, I've always been good at this game, but I wasn't keen to a lot of the explicit glitches for it. So the first time I saw like some speedrun play, I was like, damn, this is fucking crazy. I didn't know this slow ass Gabe Logan could move so fast. And like I said, the full play-by-play will be out by like the last week of the month. That way there's time for it to be enjoyed and also to hype up the streams, as I'm hopefully whittling it down closer to an hour.
Leon, I found the gas main. I'm shutting it down.
Damn, he despawned anyway. I like keeping that dude spawned for ammo. And see right there, I combined ledge canceling with weapon management and fucking just everything else. And pallet swapping, yeah, so I could have my two-handed roll. Which is just critical for getting down that ramp. It's all the little things, you know. And then this Mara's gonna be the death of me. This is like the early speedrun killer for me. Nothing I've been talking about the last few hours matters if I can't fucking headshot Mara Aramov. I fucking headshot at the other dude, are you serious? I've done it faster, but it's so inconsistent the way I've been trying to do it lately. And then this is probably the biggest problem area for the earlier half.
Leon, I'm on my way to the park.
There's a specific bomb, the one on the far east side here. I'm sorry, the far west side of this map. And the mob around it is just kind of ridiculous. And I'm pallet swapped just so I can pallet swap into the 45 faster. I hate that guy. And again, this is just so I can have the strong ammunition from this gun paired with my two-handed movement. That's pretty much always the point of pallet swapping, unless I'm using the grenade glitch specifically. And you gotta really fight the temptation to reload during a speed run, because you never want to accidentally fuck up a ledge interaction. You never want to, you know, answer a contact call by accident. You want to be very controlled with your skips. And see, since tagging bombs doesn't have a story item, you can't exploit the interacts with them in the same way. And I killed like 5 of them. And see, that's exactly what I mean. You'll kill a whole bunch of them sometimes, but if you try to go too early, and then, you know, you'll fail the objective, but then if you try to play it too safe, yeah, you know. Oh, damn, I didn't even pick up the weapon. And now I'm out of M16 ammo, though. And as for these streams, this is pretty much just what it is right now. These are like event streams. I'm gonna harvest probably the footage of the best runs as it gets better, but anything for like the specific input stuff I have to record, you know, in isolation. Just because, you know, I can't. It's mostly a storage limitation thing, but it's also just like, you know, most of this is like identical looking content. And I do plan on separating those types of streams. The type of stream you're talking about would have been what we streamed last month for Syphonfilter 2 and 3, which those are going to get the kind of videos that you are talking about, like the Ocarina and Majora and all that stuff, the typical gameplay content. That's what I'm working on right now on the editing end, and that's what I'm basically going to be doing in between, you know, eating and resting and whatnot, getting some chores done. I'm going to put a couple of hours into editing that content, because it was about 4 streams for each, and they were each about 12 hours of footage. But of course, I'm going to try to get that down to about like 3 hours. And now that I am streaming, series in general won't be as long. So whereas Ocarina of Time got like 8 40 to 50 minute parts, Syphonfilter 2, because it's already been streamed in its entirety, it's already available on the channel, you know, it's going to be condensed down even more. It's probably going to be like 3 hours out of that dozen, which is better for watchability anyway. It's less intimidating for new viewers to watch a single like 2-3 hour video than it is to catch like a 10-hour playlist. But it all depends on the series though too. With a game like Syphonfilter, we're talking about a very traditional, old-school, short game, so it can be condensed a lot. Something like Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I'll be streaming next month. Streaming more of, continuing, I guess. That would take, like, a ridiculous amount of time to abridge, because that's a whole-ass Atlas JRPG. So that's about 400 hours of dialogue alone, and like another 200 hours of menu navigation. So for that reason, SMT5 Vengeance next month is going to be kind of unique in the sense that it is going to be official quote-unquote gameplay content, just like anything else would be, but it's going to be stream only because it's just so much content. Because, you know, level grinding and cutscenes and boss fights and retries. But right now, you know, the main reason why we're deviating is because I'm playing off of what I did last year for January, which was Syphonfilter's 25th anniversary. I dedicated the month to it. But that's basically the format I want to go for now, with pretty much every game. But Syphonfilter's always going to be in January. Everything else just, you know, rotates one or the other. So after February, throughout March, I'm going to swing back around to Zelda, because it's been a while since then. But before that, throughout the month of February, on the publishing end, I'm gonna catch up on some projects, because I played Scooby-Doo like right after Halloween. I played it throughout November, and the channel is in need of some more Scooby content. That's one of my harder angles, actually. Scooby and Sonic have been keeping this channel afloat. Especially lately, since I've only been streaming. I haven't really been doing my daily shorts or anything like that. But again, you know, the speedrun is taking priority right now. That should be enough, right? Damn, that was 4 of them, though. And yeah, see, the NPC manipulation is problematic here with all these bomb segments. This is the last of it, though. This is the last stage where you have to deal with these types of situations. But it's, like I said, problematic in the early phase. Yeah, and then after Zelda, we'll be going into Pokemon, but I'm not gonna go into exactly which game or which, you know, set of games yet, which generation or anything. But that'll all come later. Pokemon I've been hyping up from like the beginning of the channel. I find any excuse I can to talk about Pokemon. And I'm going to be playing a lot of most of the games I will tell you this year that I'm going to be playing are ones that I like more so than all the other ones. I like a lot of the games that I've played, pretty much all of them, you know, but outside of like Ocarina and Majora's Mask, Castlevania 64, everything else is like just games that I enjoy. That's the most I can really say about them. They're good. I like them. I'm nostalgic or fond for them. But this is the year where I'm going to play my legitimate favorites. So it's going to be a very good year for me, getting to replay all the best games, in my opinion. And then next year, of course, because there's still more Syphonfilter games. So next year I plan on doing the remaining 3 titles. Shit. And then here's more of your NPC manipulation. You want to do it this way so the guy doesn't see you. snuck literally in front of that dude. That's the power of the fast roll. The fucking fast sneaky roll. And that's a game that I know I've seen it, I've heard about it a lot, but it's one of those where you'd have to I'd have to see an image or a logo to remember which one. But obviously it's one that I have heard of. And games like that, you know, those big titles are always worth taking a look at and playing. And they're always pretty good for attracting, you know, a crowd for content creation. Games like Chrono Trigger, I know, are other big ones that people really like. You know, in that same realm of, you know, gaming.
He's finished.
We've analyzed blood taken from Romer's men. We continue.
The fast sneak is critical for saving you a second or two here as well. When sneaking past the one guard in the corridor coming up, instead of having to stop for a second to crouch roll past them, you can just do your sneaky deaky. The same thing we've been doing. Oh, I was way too close to Fagin with that shot, I guess. But yeah, you can expect you can expect gameplay series to get shorter overall. In general, now that streaming is going to be fully incorporated. Just because there's not as much of an incentive to show you so much, because in the abridgments, that is, because, you know, it'll all be out there, of course. Well, like I said, we're going to catch up hard on the publishing end with February. Damn. Damn, that guy would have gotten me too. That was bad all around. But that's the way you want to do it, and then palette swap into the HK5 so you can set up the... This is another area where sequencing comes into play. Because you have to do a strafed roll input to get a nice headshot with Benton if you want to do it fast and accurately. But yeah, expect Scooby, SMT5 streaming, you know, a Vengeance, I mean.
What are you doing here?
And eventually we'll touch on Sonic again, because Sonic is always good to the channel. And I fucked that up. And see, this is a bad checkpoint, especially the way that I do it, because I'm palette swapped into the HK5. This puts me back to normal, so as a safety, I have to take this route. Which I still go for the headshot instead of for the feet. If you spam the input, it takes about as much time and ammo to just shoot him in the head. I also want, I want to build up more streaming content because I want to draw a more consistent streaming audience. Because I eventually want to do some community-based kind of stuff So things beyond just the regular gameplay sessions that I'm already planning on working on, but you know, extending it into, you know, just like repeat fun games that are maybe more fun to play, that don't necessarily need to have any more content associated with them, you know. Because I was having a lot of fun with Armored Core, but you know, content creation gets in the way of just playing regular ass games sometimes. Damn. I can kind of see how he aims at it now, which that's pretty critical too. Alright, let's hope this guy on the ledge doesn't get in my way, because he's always the problem for me. He's the biggest problem in this stage for me, as a matter of fact. You just gotta be fucking quick as hell with it. Switch back to your sniper rifle so you can pallet swap back to the HK5. People make Zelda... Well, I don't know if your content is or if your comment is sarcastic or not, but people make Zelda content in February or in November because of the Peanut Butter Man. Which is how I first heard about Peanut Butter Gamer back with the first Zelda month. I stopped watching Peanut Butter Gamer for a while, but especially as more and more channels, as you said, started following the trends and started becoming more and more like each other. As more of the channels that kind of were associated with Peanut Butter Gamer to begin with, you know, started becoming more and more like him, it ended up just driving me back to Peanut Butter Gamer. Because if everyone's just gonna act like him anyway, why bother watching anyone but him? Which is sad, because I used to be a real big Cat Icarus fan, but like, it's just, eh. He's just British Peanut Butter Gamer now, who swears a lot. He's still funny, he's fine enough, I guess, but eh. That fucking fish.
Tell me where the viruses are.
I don't know.
Tell me, or I will kill you.
Damn it.
Is Laura still alive?
Yes. Now to get some answers.
Hurry, more security is on its way.
And I'm not completely opposed to jumping on trends, but the main difficulty for a creator like me with something like that is I don't have the time or the finances to commit to trends. Because if you want to be trendy with stuff, you know, you gotta have the time and the money to beat a game within 12 hours of it coming out to make content. I'm not completely opposed to that sort of idea, but I literally can't sustain that, you know.
I've discovered why every mission in this investigation has been compromised.
And yeah, it's not always necessary to follow every trend, but you know, you also don't want to avoid stuff for no reason either. It just depends on how fun it is. I know I was kind of late to Armored Core, but that was one of the things I wanted to get into from the beginning. I think I've covered pretty much everything I can, though, with Momentum, all the prime examples for it. It's just a matter now of putting it all together. This is still going to be the hardest and most problematic part of the run, though, is the catacombs. And yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to be as on top of my content as possible so that if there is either some sort of topic, like a game that comes out that like I can legitimately get into, or if there's just a trend that I think is funny on like YouTube or TikTok or whatever else, I guess, RIP. You know, I like being able to jump on it if it's something, you know, that I enjoy, something that I think resonates with whatever I'm working with. But even that requires, you know, being on top of some stuff, especially on the publishing and editing end. It's so much easier to just stream because you do it and it's done, you know. I'm doing it right now. But like, I've been slow editing Syphonfilter 2, like I said, this whole time, so those project pieces probably won't even come out until February themselves. But we'll see how that all goes by the end of this month. It depends on how quick I can work a project. There's your fast roll, because he might hear you very easily. That dude didn't spawn. He will see you, I guess, if he doesn't turn, no matter what. But anyway, speaking of editing, that is what I'm going to do right now, so keep an eye out for Syphonfilter 2 shorts coming up in the next couple of days, and then look out for the abridged content probably coming up within the next couple of days as well. And then after that, I'm going to try to get the shorts out covering all the specific tricks. So everything that I've been talking about, all the rolling tricks, all the shooting and strafing and movement and camera tricks, I'll break it all down nice and tidy in just like a minute or two in some shorts. And I'll include inputs and all that stuff. And then, like I said, by the end of the month, once I have at least a good couple of runs, once I can get my time down another 20-30 minutes, I'll take, you know, the best footage that I can out of that, and I'll try to give you a play-by-play of literally everything that you do. Again, I'm not going to give you like every detailed input, turn left, turn right, hit this button, hit that button.
Damn.
You know, because most of that stuff is self-explanatory. I'm not going to tell you to press square to shoot, you know. But where to go first, and then what minor interactions are in between, you know what I mean? Like a quick aim, a pallet swap, a ledge skip, all that stuff. And especially when it's tighter sequences like the one I was going over in the Stronghold, where you're hitting a trick like that with the climb toggle. And then rolling out the window and canceling lag and doing all that shit. It's pretty sophisticated stuff when it's broken down in depth, so you know, it'll catch attention, I think. But thanks for catching it up to this point. This is the last guided session, so I mean, if you want to hear me ramble about all the other mechanics like rolling and like I said, shooting and all that, you can watch the streams from the last few days. You know, they'll be labeled as guided sessions, so you know which ones they are. But from this point on, again, starting with tonight's stream and the next couple of nights, all those streams will be for full runs. I probably won't stream in the mornings tomorrow because I really got to get stuff done on the publishing side. I got to get that Syphonfilter 2 and 3 stuff out to you guys. But also, you know, I just want to be more prepared for the run at night. But from that point on, the speed runs in the morning will be full runs, and then on my days off, I will double up after that point. Maybe not next week, but the week after that, on my days off of work, you will get daytime and nighttime streams, because I'm really going to try to get my times up. And by that point, within a week or so from now, I should have my PS2 delivered. And all I gotta do, I already have a free McBoot memory card. I can make more with the PS2 that I already have. So I'll just, I'll go ahead and crack it so that I can play the PAL region back up, because I only have, of course, the US version of Syphonfilter on the disc. But you can do a disc swap trick with the top loader PS2s. All you have to do is, you know, stick something in that little hole it's got whenever you close the lid to tell it that it's spinning, or to tell it that it's closed so it starts spinning. You just pin it down so it always thinks it's closed and the disc is always spinning. You pop a PS1 game in it to launch it into like PS1 mode, and before you actually boot the game, you just take it out while it's still spinning around, and you pop in a backup, and it's already authenticated it by reading a real PS1 disc. So then you can read backups from different regions or whatever else. So that's what I plan on doing. That'll hopefully speed my times up even more, and by that point I should have, you know, everything down. So yeah, catch that tonight, catch that throughout the month, and then we'll be back to regular publishing in February. February itself, the reason why we're doing SMT5 is because that was the first thing we did on the channel a couple of years ago in February. So that actually starts the year for us. Like, the new year starts, of course, in January, but for the channel, January is the last month of, like, you know, the channel's business year, if you will. So this is just me closing it out. Next year starts this higher standard of content, so we'll be catching up a lot with Scooby, SMT5, like I said, and then from that point on, we'll continue with the gameplay series that I already have lined up. Zelda, followed by Pokemon, followed by all the other stuff that I'll reveal, you know, later to keep some hype, some mystery going. But along the way, I'll be trying to determine other types of streams just based on, you know, viewer engagement and whatever does well. If people want to see more Chow Garden content, that's something that's always nice to stream. If people want to see more speedrunning, whatever else, that'll keep the channel going in between while I still publish stuff regularly. But yeah, until then, thanks again. And if you want to watch the full run, come back in like 3 hours.